Coming to you from Chicago, another episode of Overcoming Addiction. Hey, stick around at the end of this video. I'm going to post a link to the publishing company where you can purchase my books. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Overcoming Addiction. Today I'm going to talk about the fentanyl crisis in this problem and how the trafficking problem that's happening at the southern border, that the politicians are pretty much um, politicking over, is not the only source or the only place where fentanyl is coming into this country. But first, I want to put up some numbers here. These numbers are staggering. Over 112,000 deaths, overdose deaths in 1 year. That's up over the year before, as you can see. As of September the 13th, 2023, overdose in this country continue to rise. And as you see, it's incomplete because here in 2024, we have no idea of how much more the deaths have risen in this country. So as I said, fentanyl is not the only problem. And I'm reading this, it's from an article that I wrote specifically for this program. And it starts, today there are some in our government who would like us to believe that if we can deny the flow of the drug fentanyl into this country, then people wouldn't die from fentanyl overdose. Now, this may be true, but we still have the problem of death from other illegal and legal drugs. Now, I do not agree with the stance taken by some politicians who have decided to use the overdose death from fentanyl as a political tool. There are other drugs being smuggled into this country through legal entry ports. Stopping the flow of fentanyl at the Mexican border will only force the traffickers to find other means, and they will find other means because of the great demand for the drug. Now, according to the 2018 DEA finding, that's the Drug Enforcement Agency, the criminal elements located in China have already begun shifting their operations to India because of the restrictions the Chinese authorities have put in place on the shipping of precursor chemicals. So, what are precursor chemicals? Take a look at this notation from a DEA file dated December of last year. I'm going to add more to this context later on in the video. Precursor chemicals. These are chemical components that, when constructed together, form the basic finished fentanyl powder, which is then mixed with heroin and shaped into pills to be sold on the street. These chemicals, which are produced in China, can be purchased online by individuals in countries around the world. Mexico happens to be a prime destination because of its corrupt import and export customs departments. There, the drug is manufactured and trafficked into the U.S. by drug cartels. But that's not the only border where illegal drugs are smuggled into this country. Now, the next figures I'm going to share with you, actually, they're going to be figures and a map and some statistics. But the ones that I'm going to share with you now are from a DEA intelligence report from 2020. And I want you to pay particularly close attention to the map that I'm showing you. And it shows two things I want to point out. First, it shows that fentanyl precursors are shipped from China to Canada, where it is processed and mixed with heroin and pressed into pills to be sold in Canada, which makes it likely that the distributors in the United States are smuggling the drugs in from Canada. Second, we see where precursors are shipped directly to the United States and then smuggled into Mexico across the southwestern border to be processed and then trafficked back into the U.S. as powdered fentanyl and fentanyl pills. These are just the current means of manufacturing and trafficking that we are aware of. Even if the flow is decreased at the southwestern borders of the United States, the flow of illegal drugs will continue. There is already a new drug that is just as deadly on our streets, and it's called trank. And trank is just xylazine and fentanyl mix. Now, there will be more new drugs because our government is doing very little to address the source of addiction. Stopping the flow of one drug into this country is not going to improve upon the long-term effects of addiction in our communities, particularly the low-income ones. Addiction affects the low-income communities' social development rate because addicts don't aspire to be anything but addicts. It affects their economic stability because businesses and individuals are always under the threat of being victimized by criminals through physical violence carried out by gangs who sell drugs and the desperate individuals who use them. And addiction is usually the cause of broken homes in these communities, all of which contribute to declines in mental health. As long as there's a demand for drugs, there will be a supply source. If our government officials would focus their efforts on addressing the disease of addiction, then the demand would be reduced. Right now, there are not enough resources to properly address this issue. I'm going to put up another set of statistics for you. It says overdose deaths due to fentanyl spark debate over treatment. Fentanyl fueled unprecedented carnage with 112,000 fatal overdoses. The nation is increasingly divided over how to respond, and this was in December 28, 2023. I have some more stats here from another DEA declassified report. And it says today the majority of precursor chemicals for illicitly manufactured fentanyl come from China and are synthesized into fentanyl in Mexico. Fentanyl is being smuggled across the border into the United States. This means fentanyl is not just a public health emergency with devastating human and substantial economic costs. That was in December. And another one says that while Mexico and China are primary source countries for fentanyl and fentanyl-related substances trafficked directly into the United States, India is emerging as a source for finished fentanyl powder and fentanyl precursor chemicals. And like I said, this problem that they think they may have a hold on, or they think they might be able to get a hold on, is not going to be something that's going to be easy to do, because it's like any drug dealer. You shut down one source, they open up another location. And this is a so one way we can address this problem is by drafting legislation to designate addiction as a disease. That would be a good start in the effort to arrest this problem. Just recognizing it as a mental health issue would require addiction to be treated clinically, meaning by doctors and studied by doctors. And they would have to come up with a clinical treatment program for addiction the way they do with diabetes and cancer. I just thought that I would share my thoughts on the matter as someone who has been a victim of opioid abuse. These are just my opinions based on my observations of the danger drug abuse has caused in this country, especially in my community. My goal is to continue to bring attention to this problem, so stay tuned for more on this subject. Before I go, I want to ask those that are watching if they would like, and particularly to subscribe to the channel. This would help a lot. This would help me be able to grow content and reach a broader audience. Also, if you haven't already, you can purchase a book called The Effective Use of Spiritual Tools. It's written by me, and here in this book I talk about how I use the spiritual tools to help me overcome my addiction. Also, if you would like content of any of these videos or a written transcript, you can email me at sandymays223@gmail.com. I will be glad to send out a copy. If you have suggestions for videos, or if you have comments, please put them in the comment section below the video. You can find me on Facebook under my name, Sandy Mays, and on Instagram. Thanks for tuning in to this program. I hope that I have brought some attention to this problem. And in the near future, as I said, I will bring you more information, and hopefully we can do more to address this serious problem that is destroying our community. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.